Some people would ask me, what do I want to be when I grow up? I say I'll be a soldier because I'm going to kick butt, but turns out I don't because I'm going to die instead. However, I start thinking, whether I want to be a firefighter or not, and start thinking, I think it's a bad idea because I'm going to end up burning in the flames instead.
Oceans like we used to do.
Only the Brave is a movie directed by Joseph Kosinski, which takes place and it's based on a true story which tells the story about the Granite Mountain hotshot trying to face a wildfire in Arizona back in 2013. Now in this movie, the story tells the story about a fire department who is led by Eric Marsh, who is played by Josh Brolin, and however they're forming a fire department as many fighters as they can, and one of them is Brendan, who's played by Miles Teller, who's also a newcomer to the firefighter department, and now they're about to face a wildfire which is taking over in Arizona, and it takes a team for them to try to handle the Arizona and try to stop the situation. Now to be honest, when I heard about Joseph Kosinski making a new movie, I was very excited because Joseph Kosinski directed Oblivion and also Tron Legacy, which is one of the movies that I didn't really much enjoy, but they were actually composed by good music composers. So I was thinking, music composer did for this movie, and finally I found it, which is basically a guy who did compose the music for The Raid, which is a movie that takes place in a country where I live. Yes, it's from a country where I live, don't ask. However, about the music, actually I like because they had some music that they had to use some soundtrack from random music, and the music was also great. The score is great. Continuing to how I get this movie is actually that Only the Brave, I mean, like, okay, I want to see this movie. I didn't get an IMAX release for this movie, which is a shame, but at least I get to see this movie. However, I thought I was never going to see this movie because I will get a late release for this movie until I find out they say that the movie's finally out. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get my money on it. I'm going to get to this movie. To be honest, I was also late for this movie, but however, when I watched the movie, I was very entertained, In the beginning of the movie, we get a brief explanation about the fire department, a brief explanation on every character, including Miles Teller's character as Brendan, who actually is a breakup relationship, and suddenly they have a baby, so now he wants to improve himself and try to be a man as he become a firefighter. And then we also get some other stories, like for example, Eric Marsh, who basically has a wife, and a lovely wife, a very loving wife, but sometimes they have problems and all that, and basically friends with Jeff Bridges, who plays this kind of sheriff. Now in the middle of the movie, we get to see some mini dramas going on and many scenes where they enjoy each other and they like doing their friendship and all that, and also like times where they keep practicing. They just try to become a firefighter, how to become a good firefighter and how to solve the situation and all that. And there are many dramas going on, which I really understand because we don't get to see much of the fire. They're facing the fire and all that because they're still like training and all that. And then in the end of the movie, I start asking myself like, wow, this movie really deserves some respect. I have to say this movie really deserves some respect. And despite the fact, like, I don't want to say it's boring because it's not. It's really a good movie that you should enjoy. And when I say enjoy the movie, it's not that you want to say that's something entertaining, not as a show that you could be enjoyed yourself of. But however, this movie give us a moral of what's it like to become these true heroes, that the heroes show themselves of them being a firefighter trying to save one country at one world at the same time. So apologize for my words, everyone. However, we also get to see every perspective of each characters. Like for example, Miles Teller, who basically plays Brendan, who also have a girlfriend that they broke up but intended to have a baby. So now Brendan tries to reunite with them again and tries to be a good family. And then we also get to see Eric Marsh having a little bit of trouble with their wife as well. And then suddenly we get to see a group of guys, basically the firefighters in the Grand Mountain hotshots, who's been sometimes joking around and situations going on, which is actually a fun time. And however, after watching the movie, I feel like this movie deserves some respect because after the Grand Mountain hotshots event, after the Arizona event, there were 19 people in total who died, and Miles Teller was the only one who actually was alive. So I think this movie really deserves some respect. And one of them was actually played by Garrett Hedlund and also Taylor Kitsch. I started thinking, I was thinking, where's Taylor Kitsch? Where's Garrett Hedlund in this movie? And then I just realized that Garrett Hedlund played as a 22-year-old person named Ray Parker, if I'm not mistaken. And he was also one of the firefighters that actually passed away, that dares themselves to face the firefighter. And also Taylor Kitsch, I just realized he played as Christopher McKenzie, who also, this guy also passed away as well. There were 19 people, like I said, there were 19 people in total who passed away trying to fight the fire, and Miles Teller's character Brendan was the only one who was alive. And this movie, I was actually entertained by this movie, by how the story takes place. Like, it was very depressing and how joyful this movie was. I have to say this, but Only the Brave is one of Joseph Kosinski's best movie ever made. I really enjoyed this movie, to be honest. I'm not gonna say that I don't want to watch this movie because it's a Joseph Kosinski movie. I mean, it's not boring at all because I was very entertained by this movie. This movie really gave me a lot, really. I'm sorry, I'm so unprepared when I do this review. But however, next week I'll be seeing Thor Raagnarok, which I'm very excited for that. But yeah, that was my review on Only the Brave. Have you seen it? What did you think about my movie review? Let me know in the comments below what you think. If you like the movie, tell me what you think about the movie. And yeah, that was my review on Only the Brave. Plus, I also gotta work on this thing over here, which you'll see that soon. But yeah, here's my review on Only the Brave. Here's the outro.